Cool, cool. Here we are. We're welcome back to PT Graduate Podcast and to my guest, Leanne Flanders. How are you today?
I'm good, thanks, Rich.
Fantastic. Coming in from the sunny shores of
Mount Maunganui.
Mount Maunganui. I know. I'm very envious when I see photos of the place. It's like, oh, such a great spot to be able to head up that hill or walk on that beach. It's a pretty nice part of the country.
Yeah, I love it for sure.
So you've been based elsewhere as well, though. You've sort of been and come back to there.
Yeah, so I was originally from Hawke's Bay and then moved up here in 2005. I was briefly living back in Hawke's Bay for 2 years when my mum was ill, and then I've been back here for 2.5 years now.
Cool. Yeah, and it feels like the right place.
Yeah. I like to be next to the ocean.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've got a really interesting business that's one of the reasons I wanted to catch up with you and have a chat about it and share that with other people is this, and you've got this monster machine. I mean, those who are listening only won't be able to see this, of course, but you've got this monster machine behind you, which does some incredible things. And I've just been watching the video on your website that sort of explains how it functions and what it does. And it's quite a long video. There's quite a lot involved there in terms of how it works and what it does. So it'd be really good to, I guess, get an understanding of, what endermotherapy is for those people who are new to that term. I certainly am. And then how it sort of ties in with your business, which is Reconstruct Me. Yeah.
Well, I actually found out about this only because my mum got sick and I moved to Hawke's Bay, and someone was wanting to set up a business down there and needed people that understood anatomy. So because that's what I've studied, and I was just like, oh, well, I kind of need some work while I'm down here, and I'll find out about this. And long story short, I ended up buying the business off them and redeveloped it into more of a remedial side. It was initially just beauty, and so now they're beauty and remedial.
Okay.
And then once she was well again, and I moved the whole business up to the Mount where I really wanted to be.
Gotcha. Yeah. So this machine kind of reminds me of do you remember the movie Short Circuit?
Short Circuit. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There's a movie, that kid's one called Wally?
Yeah, similar.
She's called Eva because she's the girl robot out of Wally. But yeah, essentially she's just a really flash vacuum cleaner in a way. So it's a negative pressure. So instead of like your normal massage is that positive pressure pushing down onto your tissue.
Yeah.
Lifts it up. And sort of while you've got that suspended tissue, it massages it while it's lifted. So it's incredible for increasing your circulation, helping lymphatic flow better as well. You can get the muscle fibers to move around. So great for getting rid of tension, that type of thing. And it's originally developed for burns. So really tissue, it can help to give the movement back. Like the guy that developed it, I don't know if you can see at the bottom there, it's got an LPG logo.
Yes. Yeah.
LPG is Louis Paul Gattei, and he was burnt in a really bad explosion. So he actually developed it to treat his own burns, and this is in France. It was so effective that they used the machine throughout burns units in France, and it's kind of growing from there, and I've realized it's great for heaps of different stuff.
Yeah.
Beauty things as well. It's really good for helping to tighten and tone skin. So anyone that's lost a lot of weight or had a child, it can help to densify and bring that tissue back in. Yeah.
Right. I've noticed in some of your photographs that you've got people wearing sort of compression gear while they're being treated. What's the purpose of having that as well as the treatment that you bring with the machine?
So it's not so much a compression as a surface. So they're quite trendy.
This is looks like a baby grow.
Well, yeah, they are very stretchy, but the point of them are, you'd only wear that whole suit if you were having a full body treatment.
Yeah.
But it actually just creates more of a glide surface for the so it just helps keep suction when we're going over like bony landmarks, and then it keeps the hold down onto the tissue. It's a bit of hygiene, bit of modesty as well. Yeah. But if you're just having the arm work done, I've just got sleeves that you can put on, so you don't have to put the whole on.
So you could do a leg, or you could do an arm, or a trunk, that sort of thing.
Yeah. And some people are just having lower body, so they'll put that suit on, but just halfway up. And then I've got ones that are just from the top as well. Yeah.
And so I mean, the list goes on. I mean, it's enormous. You've got, and I'll read from what I've learned from my research. You've got frozen shoulder, fibromyalgia, sciatica, fluid retention, tennis elbow, which is, I'm really curious, because that to me sounds like a machine that's going over soft tissue wouldn't get into something that's a tendon issue. Back pain.
The tennis elbow was the first thing that got me interested in the remedial side. So I was working for someone else. I was giving this lady facials every week, and she kept going on about her tennis elbow. Yeah. And I was like, well, I know this can help on a remedial sense. How about I just spend another 10, 15 minutes on your elbow? I won't charge you any extra. Yeah. She was like, okay. And then she'd come back the next week, and she's like, I can't believe it feels so different. And it's because tendons and ligaments are harder to get the blood flow, this forces more blood flow without any trauma. So it really helps create more of a healing environment. Okay. And delivery gets oxygen flowing and stuff.
So do you have different attachments for different parts of the body?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. People are definitely going to have to watch the YouTube version of this rather than the audio.
Yeah, so like rollers.
Yeah.
So you make that going onto your skin.
Yeah.
Areas, and then like the smaller areas.
Gotcha.
Okay. Even smaller still, like I've got attachments that are small enough to go into your fingertip. People that have burnt off their fingerprints or sliced the tip of their fingers off and had no sensation. Yeah. I've brought it back with these. You can just keep forcing that blood to the end of your fingers, and then they can feel again. Wow, that's amazing. Yeah. I wish I'd known about this treatment when I had a tennis elbow issue. It took ages for it to. I finally got some acupuncture. It's like over 12 months of ongoing pain. The other couple of things on that list, which I nearly finished off: back pain, plantar fasciitis, and cellulite. And that cellulite thing comes up a little bit more than the others on that video. I don't know a lot about cellulite other than what it appears to be. There's obviously more to it than meets the eye in terms of what that machine's doing to treat cellulite. Yeah, well, because what like if you think about stubborn fat and cellulite, they're not relative. Typically, areas of the body, it doesn't matter whether you're exercising or eating well. There's just some areas of the body it just doesn't move on. Like you can see some elite athletes have got lots of cellulite, but they're on epic nutrition plans and they're obviously exercising enough. So what this does is it essentially unsettling and mobilizing the stubborn tissue, the stubborn fat, and not giving it enough time to settle back down and you treat it again. Right. So you're kind of keeping it mobilized, and the body actually starts to sort of metabolize it, if you like, and you can start to sculpt the body. Wow. So you'll lose centimeters, skin can tone up. I've got a client at the moment that we've had such good results on her thighs, the front, backs of her thighs, just unbelievable differences. And now we're actually working on the loose skin on her tummy. Yeah. We've had a huge difference with that as well. Wow. So, you can kind of mix up your treatments. If you come in, I've got a sore ankle, so we work on the ankle, and then you stay there and have a facial before you leave. Two in one, it's kind of neat.
Exactly. It's pretty powerful stuff, isn't it, this machine? It looks pretty hardy, like you'd struggle to kind of, steal it and run away with it.
Oh yeah, it's been the scariest times of my life is transporting that thing.
Yeah. Is it something that is it something you can lie down and throw on your back seat, or is it a bit more precious than that?
It's got to be kept upright, and there's no handles or anything. So
Right.
yeah, not ideal for moving around, especially getting it up the stairs here was not good.
No. So it's got to be basically where it's going to rest and stay there however long. Yeah.
Yeah.
So other parts of your business, Leanne, obviously you're a health and movement coach. You've got post-grad studies in sport and exercise, and there's a lot of information in terms of the things that you do, and lots of options. How much of your time is split between using the machine and doing the movement type thing and the health coaching stuff?
Definitely more with the therapy now. Especially since moving back to the Mount. I mean, I went from being fully booked with the allocated time that I was giving to the business to having to start from zero, people that even knew what it was. So it sort of took 2 years really of properly getting the word out there. It's hard to advertise something that no one understands what it is.
No.
Because people tend to look at ads and stuff if they've never heard of something, or it seems too good to be true. So because I know a lot of people in the industry up here, I just got lots of people in and gave them free treatment. And those people have been telling their people. So it took about 2 years, I'd say, and now I keep getting referrals coming in. They might have been told about it a year ago, and now they've got a problem, so they were coming in to see me. So but then I do incorporate the movement coaching stuff in this room as well. Like if someone comes in and they're talking about a sore muscle, I'll go through some of those base testing type exercises to find out if it's actually what they think it's from, because I don't go ahead and treat someone until I actually know where I should be treating them. Yeah. Because they might know or they might think they know where the pain is coming from, but if you realize, oh, actually your foot's doing this, that's probably what's causing the hip, then you can kind of narrow stuff down. And it's quite neat to flip people out with stuff like that. They're like, what, my foot's causing it? And you get them to change something in their foot and then their pain goes away. And that's cool.
That's pretty powerful stuff, isn't it? And I guess it's a smarter approach to solving the problems that you see presented with the people who walk in the door, because it'd be very easy to just slap the machine on where, well, it hurts here. But to have a greater understanding of how the body works and be able to actually go, actually, that's being caused by somewhere else. That's where the machine needs to go. It's a pretty smart approach. It's got to obviously bring some really good results.
Yeah, well, it's quite good too to do some of those checks before. Like I had a guy who was telling me about his hamstring problem, so I checked his hip rotation before I started treating him, and I was like, you've definitely got a deficit on the side you're talking about. Did a treatment, retested the rotation, and there was an improvement. I said, but you can definitely improve it more so by doing some mobilization techniques of your own. Yeah. So I showed him how to do some of the traction type stuff with the bands and sent him off. I was like, you don't need to be having as many treatments. I think you can do some of this yourself. Yeah. Because I don't want people coming in here treatment after treatment after treatment if they can actually be doing something to help themselves anyway. Yeah. And have some people that works with, some people can't be bothered. Do it for them.
Some people would rather turn up and let you do the work.
Yeah, totally.
Sounds like your anatomical knowledge and function. It certainly adds a really amazingly powerful layer to what you do. What about those clients who are there just for sort of the health coaching side of things? Do you spend much time with those sorts of people?
A little bit. I wouldn't say a lot. It'd probably be therapy would be the biggest part, and then movement coaching with personal training, and then some of the health coaching. That's sort of where I'm at the moment. Coming into change of season, like when I get into spring and that, I want to get a lot more people into the health coaching and more training type stuff, and people start to feel a bit more energetic once the cooler months have gone by. But that's only because I really needed to get the therapy up to where I'm at now. So that was sort of my goal, and now I'm pretty happy with that. So I can start to look at the other side of the business now.
Very cool. That's great. I guess moving around the country does make that a little bit harder.
It was real tough.
Yeah. There's some good lessons in there, I think, that people might be able to use for themselves, you know, in terms of not necessarily moving a business, but just setting up a business and getting going and trying to establish themselves, you know, with a reputation for what they do and how they do it. You talked about getting the people that you knew in the industry to come and have some sessions and so that they would learn what the treatment was and how it works firsthand. Were there any other techniques that you use to sort of help promote what you do and establish yourself again?
Yeah, well, through different personal trainers that I know, anytime they had any challenges going or were running competitions, I would donate vouchers. So people would win a prize, and part of the prize was like a free full body endermotherapy session, and I'd be like, what is that?
Yeah.
And I'd hear that it's worth quite a bit of money, so they're like, oh, well, I want to find out about that. So in that free session, I would incorporate a full consultation, so that it's a full down and demo, so they understand everything.
Yeah.
It might just trigger something when they're having a conversation with someone else. They're like, oh, my friend has fibromyalgia, she has real problems. She'll be like, oh, well, I found out about this girl who says her treatments can help that, the symptoms with that. So that's been quite beneficial. People have come in for their treatment that they've won and then ended up getting their partner in, and then their partners ended up being here for quite a while having treatments for something else. So yeah, that's a good way to do it, especially when it's not a treatment that people are Googling. People look up massage therapist.
Yeah.
Like, unless you already know what endermotherapy is, you're not Googling it.
No. In fact, I don't know whether that's something I did, but I might do that later and just see what comes up, because are there many practitioners around the country that you're aware of?
I'm just trying to think what the list was. There's quite a few in Auckland.
Okay.
I'm the only one here. There is one other lady who has a machine, but her one's quite old, and she doesn't do quite as many things with hers. Otherwise, the closest to here is Hamilton, and then down to there's one in Palmy.
Yeah.
There's a few in Wellington. But I've had people come to me because they've lived out of town or they are from out of town and they've had the treatments before, so they already know it, and some of them come along with their own little suit. So like, I can't believe no one else knows about this. And definitely people from overseas, from America and Australia, they know a lot more about it as well.
Yeah. I guess it's an imported piece of machinery, isn't it? Which isn't necessarily very common, so therefore it hasn't become well known or mainstream. Yeah,
well, I mean, because it's French, like it's really big all around Europe and the UK and the States, huge in the States. For little old New Zealand, we only just in February this year got our first distributor in the country for the part.
Really?
Yeah, so that's sort of where we're at. Like it's very Australia, they've got distributors and a lot more machines and everything around the country.
Yeah.
But not quite here. So I'm trying to be part of that pioneer of understanding what it is.
Is there so if you needed a part or something doing to it, did you have to then get in touch with the people in Aussie?
Yeah. So well, I've actually ordered stuff from France as well.
Right.
And these suits actually I get these from Poland. So there's it took a bit of understanding whereabouts everything was and who to contact and how to get the best deal with things. And France can muck you around quite a lot. That's why I ended up going through Poland. But I feel like I'm in a place where I understand where everyone is and who to contact and all that kind of stuff now, which is good.
Yeah. So with your movement clients, do you get many who kind of put those two things together? You know, you've got someone who's coming to see you for movement stuff, and it just naturally ties in with the endermotherapy, or not necessarily? Yeah.
Well, even one of the more recent vouchers that someone won was it was $60 and it could go towards any of my services. And this one girl decided that she was going to get the full functional movement analysis done with me, and such an exciting person to be analysing, because everything that she was complaining of was so obvious in all of her movement screens. And so now she'll be coming to me with a program of how we can start to improve those. And she'll be jumping on the table too to get some tissue work with the machine.
Interesting. So yeah, they do tie in.
It's very exciting for someone for me, because I'm like, yes, I get excited. I don't want them to have the problems, but you know what it's like. You can see it and you're like, I know how to help that. But then from her perspective as well, her words were, I'm glad that it wasn't just all in my head. Because she was saying that she was, nothing seems to be getting better. Is it just me? But to be told, this is actually the problem and there is a solution, she was over the moon with that.
Yeah. Sounds pretty powerful. What was she, just a general population type person or an athlete, or?
I'd say general pops going into she's sort of in the F45 group. So quite active and high intensity type stuff, but not competitive athlete. Yeah.
So just a general exerciser that she was noticing some dysfunction or some pain.
Yeah, well, any overhead work, one of her arms, it was like she just couldn't get her it was almost a 45 degrees. That was it. Yeah. So the other arm boom straight up. And that correlated with everything on her, that whole side of her body. Everything was very limited compared to the other side.
Right. Yeah. Good stuff. And would that be a typical client? She sounds like the ideal client?
Yeah, that's definitely the ideal client. Yeah. It's people come in with problems and you can't figure out what it is.
Yeah.
The other one, you're like, but when it's so obvious like that, it's I love that. I can't wait for them to start seeing improvement.
Brilliant. So I've got a note that I've made for myself here. You've got there was a photo of our mutual friend Carlos, and he had done a significant amount of running in a very short space of time. He was pretty broken, I think. Was it 9 ultras in 12 months?
Yeah. That was epic, and he would come to me within the sort of a few days after each event. In various forms of being absolutely munted. The poor guy, wow. But his recovery, he couldn't believe the turnaround. Yeah. Because it's such a good effect on your lymphatic system, just flushing that body out. His recovery was such to a degree where there was one of the times I was treating him, it was a few days after an event, he was going back to do another one that weekend.
Jeez.
And he did it. Yeah. So there was a couple there that were very short between those events, and if anyone's done an ultra, they know how epically crazy they are. The recovery after, and you don't want to be doing them very soon again.
No.
So yeah, he'd actually come up from Hawke's Bay to have a treatment with me since then. So that was sort of the most extreme treatments that I was doing. Really cool though, seeing one of the times his calf muscles were so, I've never seen such hard muscles. You'd swear that there was concrete beneath that skin. And after rolling over them a few times with the machine, just seeing them soften straight away, and in such a gentle way. If people are in pain, typically if you touch them, the pain receptors will respond quite quickly to that positive pressure, but because this is negative, you don't get the same response. So it's so gentle compared to if you went in for a deep tissue massage, that can be quite put you on edge. And a good example of that is if someone I had a lady with fibromyalgia, and her arms, you couldn't touch them without her sort of like wincing. I could roll over them and lift the tissue and have it massaged with that suspension, with the negative pressure, because it didn't hurt. So it's a really different sensation.
So it's a pain it's a pain issue with fibromyalgia, that the body's hypersensitive.
Yeah, well, it looked like she had really fat arms, but it was just the swelling.
Yeah.
Really, really swollen, and she couldn't lift her arms. She physically couldn't lift her arms up because it was just hurt so much. Yeah. And she got the swelling down so much, the fact that she could lift her arms up again, and she wanted to go dancing.
So massive shifts in quality of life then.
Yeah, absolutely.
And for Carlos, sorry.
She was only in New Zealand for 6 months, so we got her to that point, and then she was back in South America, and she couldn't find anything to do it there. Which is really unfortunate. Yeah,
so it sounds like you got her to a good place at least.
Yeah, and typically, like most treatments, there is some degree of maintenance required with most people. Yeah, it depends on what happened and how long you've had it for, if it's a long-term thing. Yeah, I've had people come in one treatment and I never need to see them again. They just can't believe how much it's helped.
Okay, yeah. But it sounds like it has a very powerful effect very, very quickly. And going back to that quality of life thing, obviously your client back in South America had a big shift, and Carlos being able to get back out on the trail so soon is a massive shift, because that's where he loves to be. So it's pretty powerful stuff. I'm sort of tempted to go and find someone close by to see if I can get my own treatment.
Come down to the mountain. Go on.
Yeah. Actually, I'm in your neck of the woods next week. Would you believe? Yeah. I'll see if I can fit some time in.
Yeah. Cool.
It's been brilliant talking. I guess just to wrap up, anything. I know we've covered some good juicy bits about setting up your business, relocating your business, all those sorts of things, techniques that help people succeed, and that's really what this podcast is about. Are there any other sort of tidbits or things that you've sort of found have worked for you over the years that you'd be happy to share that other people might be able to sort of reuse?
I think not turning down any opportunities. Like if there's some little smidgen of hope that it might have some kind of positive effect on your business, just try it. Yeah. Because it's quite easy to think, oh, well, that sounds kind of silly, or I don't think that would have enough impact. You don't know until you actually try it. So I think it's worth trying anything. Yeah. Especially with like some of the times with giving people vouchers and that, there were some that never even redeemed them, and you sort of think, oh, that was kind of a waste of time. But then you do it again, and it can be with the same group of people even, and then you'll have one person that comes and does it, and then next minute 3 of their friends will come. So you can't if something failed the first time, don't think that it'll fail the second time. Yeah. Because you've got to try it again, and just I mean, there's only so many times you want to try, but don't think something just get the better of you the first time around. You might as well try again. Yeah, I like that. Yep. Persistence and consistency, I guess, not giving up after one go, and keep chipping away. Yeah. And you're always going to have your down weeks where there's you might have a lot of people cancel and all that type of thing, and that can start to get you down. But you've just got to keep in mind that those weeks are going to pick back up again, and you'll have those really, really good ones. So make the most of any downtime you get. That's good. If someone cancels, think, well, what can I do with this hour? And even if it's just researching something or listening to some podcast, whatever, just actually use that time for something rather than flicking on Netflix and feeling sorry for yourself. That's also great advice, because it's easy to see the negative side of a week where you get
you know, less appointments or cancellations. But you're right, being productive with your time is so important, because then you'll be better equipped the next time you have the up weeks.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome, that's great. Okay, well, I will leave you to your afternoon. Thank you so much for your time, and it's been great chatting.
Yeah, thank you. It's been good.
See you, Leanne.
See ya.